I'm in the mood for some Japanese, so let's make some shrimp tempura.
And who doesn't love shrimp?
Well, I know I do. First we have to make our tempura sauce, or tentsuyu as it's called. Take 200 milliliters of cold water, add it to a small pot, and then we take 2 or 3 pieces of kombu, or dried kelp, and then we bring that up to a very low simmer and let that simmer for 10 minutes. Time's up. Now we need to take out our kombu here from our, let's call it a kombu tea. There we go. And then we want to add in 5 grams of Bonito Flakes, which is dried smoked tuna shavings. And we let that dissolve and we leave that there to steep for 5 to 6 minutes. We need to strain this now to get the Bonito Flakes out. Get all of this out here. And then squeeze out all the liquid from the flakes. Our liquid goes back in the pot. And we add 100 milliliters of mirin, 100 milliliters of sake, and 100 milliliters of soy sauce. And then we bring that to a simmer and we let that reduce for 10-15 minutes so it gets a little bit thicker. For the batter, you could buy this ready mix from your Asian supermarket, but we're not going to do that today. We're going to make our own. So to our bowl we add a whole egg that we're going to whisk up. And don't make it too foamy, just combine it. And here we have 200 grams of all-purpose flour. I'm going to add half a teaspoon of baking soda. I'm just going to mix that in dry. That's ready. Now we're going to add maybe 200 milliliters of water to begin with to our egg. And I've shifted to chopsticks because we don't want to overmix this when we add the flour. And we add it, let's say 1/3 at a time, something like that. And then we mix it in carefully. And be careful not to mix too quickly or too rapidly because we don't want to start the gluten. Then it won't fry nicely. And it doesn't matter if we have a little bit of lumps in this, that's perfectly okay. Need a little bit more water. You want to have a consistency like heavy cream, pancake or crepe batter, something like that. And in with the rest. And it depends on your flour how much water you're going to use. So it's not an exact measurement here. You add water until you have the right consistency, and I'll show you in a minute or so. This is what you want to see. A little bit of lumpiness is okay. And then we add 3 ice cubes to this, and then we put it in the fridge while we prepare our shrimp. We have here a dozen nice shrimps that was cleaned by our fishmonger, so they are deveined and shell is off, but tails are still on. But as you see here, they are curving, and for this we want them to be straight. So what you do is you make some shallow cuts here on the belly side, not very deep, maybe 4 or 5 of them here, and a couple of very shallow ones on the side, just to loosen. And then you put it belly down, and then you push it like this until you can hear the muscle break. And then you see, perfectly straight. And that's how you want your shrimp to look. We have a cast iron pot, half filled with oil, warming up right now. We chose cast iron because it retains heat well, so it doesn't cool down when we put in the shrimp. We have our batter, and then we have our breading station. So now let's get our shrimps into the flour and get them covered on all sides. But try to keep the tails free of flour so they look good for presentation. Oil is at 170, we're ready to begin. And I'm starting just with 1 so we can get a hang of the technique here. And then swirl it into your oil like this. And then with your free hand, you dip your fingers here and then you sprinkle over some extra batter. That will give that signature look and crispiness on your tempura shrimp. And they cook really fast, actually. There we have the first beautiful shrimp tempura. And while it's still warm, we want to sprinkle it with a little bit of salt and some Togarashi. Now I'll grab 2. There we go. Beautiful. Separate them there. And a sprinkle of tempura mixture. There we are. 2 more. Beautiful. And give them a bit of salt. And Togarashi. Time to taste one of my favorites, and they look really fantastic. Let's try with our tempura sauce here. That's actually really, really good. You're gonna like that. But I also want to try with our homemade sweet and sour sauce. I know that's not traditional, but I love sweet and sour sauce. And by the way, there's a link down below how to make that. That's more like it. That's my favorite.